And this was us yesterday. She did both of our makeup. Can I get that picture to come up better? There we go. I look kind of crazy there, don't I? Anyway, she and
you
I
always
sat,
look crazy in drag. You know that.
she and I sat side by side. Instead of her doing my face like she did last time, we sat side by side, and she went first, and then I went. So she's like, all right, first we're going to do this, do this, do this. So I do it. It was like a daughter copying her mom watching how to do makeup. But so Drag Race. Oh, secondly, speaking of teaching me how to do my makeup, we'll be in 20 minutes. Oh, I'm going to set my timer, too, which I did last time.
Mm-hmm.
Set a timer for 20 minutes.
We're already at like 15.
Okay. I am going to either just keep studying, or I'm going to hire a drag queen to teach me how to get my face on in 30 minutes. I'm putting it, by the end of 2015, I will have a 30-minute face. Because so much more will be possible for me. I'll be able to say yes to more gigs. I'll be able to go more places, do more things if I can get ready that quickly.
Yeah, well, time management has always been a struggle of yours.
Really? When? Name one time. Name one time. That's not this one right now. So, Spoof, there it is, episode 4. Which basically, there wasn't a mini challenge for this one, right? It went right to the main challenge?
No, it went straight into the challenge because they had to. This is Spoof. There it is. And I just want to take this moment to really point this out because this really bothered me about what the queens did. Ru, when she introduced the challenge, she said you're going to make your own honey or die video.
Yeah.
And then you're supposed to do like a parody of one of Ru's songs. So then they had to record the vocals and do choreography and shoot the video and all that. And then they had to do a green look for the runway. No, not green. Was it green? It was green. Yeah, green. Look. Green look.
Which no one did. I mean, there was very little actual green. But go on.
Yeah. Well, anyway. So my issue was first I was very disappointed in all the parodies. I'm sure you felt the same way.
No, not all of them.
Oh, maybe my standards are too high. I thought they were kind of lousy. I thought that some of them were actually. I'll go ahead and say that I thought all of them were excellent concepts, but I don't think there was great follow through on any of them.
I think the concepts were great. You know, I'm a stickler for lyrics. I actually liked Tan With You. I'm very biased towards Trixie. I mean,
Trixie, of course you are.
Trixie could take a nap for her challenge. I'm like, that was really cool. So this song parody challenge, watching these queens trying to collaborate on a song parody and watching Trixie be like, okay, well, what if we did Tan With You? And immediately everyone just shuts them down.
Right. Well, it's interesting. You and I can definitely speak on collaborating on a parody.
Because I was going to say, this reminded me of collaborating with you. What if we do that? No. Well, what if we... No. And then you having an idea, and well, hey, Ben, what if we... And I'm like, no. I think the sign that you are a good collaborator is how quickly you shoot down your friend's idea. And then the second measure is how quickly you realize, oh, wait, that was a really good idea that I shot down. Our theme song, I was so stumped. I'm like, there's no way to make any of this rhyme and sound good, so why don't... You remember how bad my original lyrics were to that? And then you just took it and you're like, boom. And I'm like...
Oh, they weren't bad. They were just rough. Well, look, the thing is, working with people, period, is a total, skill of its own. It's a total art form. You have to work with the right people, whatever. I could go on about this forever.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Please don't.
You know, as funny as you're being, I feel like we do shoot each other down plenty, but I would say that when it comes to writing and creating, we're very supportive of each other.
Yeah. Which we'll learn to get over that sooner or later.
No, but I mean, if you pitch a song idea, I'm not that's horrible. You know? And well, also the other thing is, and this again goes to we've chosen to work with each other. We weren't randomly assigned. I find your ideas pleasant, pleasing. I like them. I find them entertaining. So when you pitch them, obviously I'm already in the realm of kind of liking what you do. I mean, with Pearl and Fame in this challenge, they just seem to hate the way each other thinks, and they're just driving each other crazy.
First off, I love the idea that two podcasters could be randomly assigned to each other, like an arranged marriage or something. Like, this is going to be your co-host. Make it work. Make it work. Sorry, I just got to quickly itch. My shoulder itches here a little bit. There we go. That doesn't look as flattering as I hoped. Anyway, it bothers me so much watching people shoot each other down in a brainstorming. In 3rd grade, we learned about brainstorming, and the whole idea was you don't negate anything in a brainstorming session. During brainstorming, you just get ideas out, and then later
it's like the best one. It's like the core of improv, which is the core of creating something, which is that you say yes.
You say yes, no, but, right? In improv, no matter what someone says, you say no, but, right?
Yes, and and.
Oh, no, but. Never mind. That's what my trick was saying to me last night. Yes, and is what I say during sex. I'm like, do you want to do blah, blah, blah? Yes, and.
Well, anyway, but I do think that the Ginger's team, Ginger and Kennedy and, what was it, Mrs. Kasha and Candy, their team, their concept was my favorite comedy-wise, but the follow-through was totally without jokes for me.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like they missed all these, like, clear opportunities for lines. Like, you know, they never once in that song said available on iTunes, which is ridiculous. If you're making
That's basically a RuPaul quote.
If you're making a parody song about how Ru gets paid, you don't mention available on iTunes. I mean, I just thought it was ridiculous. They didn't mention nearly enough of her products. I don't know. I found it a disappointing follow-through with not enough punchlines. However, I also think that Ginger and Kennedy were great in the video. They sang great. They looked great. They were both awesome.
Define sang great. Am I the only one?
I'm not a singer.
Am I the only one who can even hear? Ginger Minj is never going to see this, right?
Hey, Ginger sounded better than most of the queens in that
Ginger
challenge.
Can't sing. Am I the only one who's hearing this? Like, there's a story of Ru.
What I'm going to say right now is
when the notes are up here, and every note you're trying to hit comes like here and here and here.
You're getting into stuff that I don't really know about. For me, if you can sing the pitch, that's great.
That's the thing that she couldn't do. That's the exact quality that she did not possess.
She sang in tune. You're wrong. I'm sorry. There were
I will give you anything else. I will give you anything else. You're not getting that from me.
You're going to tell me that Pearl and Miss Fame and
I'm walking off this show. I'm going outside for an hour-long cigarette break.
Right now you're going to tell me that Pearl and Miss Fame
I'm taking my pecs. I'm walking off set. I can't do this. I can't do this. Forget it.
You don't have to like Ginger singing.
Finish the show yourself.
All right, well, I'm going to play it right now so you guys can hear. She can carry a tune in a bucket. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying carry the tune in a bucket. I don't need...
Here's the thing. Here's the deal. Here is the tea. In tune has a meaning, right? In tune means something. What in tune means...
I have to tell you how irritating it is when you talk to me like I don't know anything about music. It's
Name
irritating.
one person in your family who has anything to do with music. Wait. Never mind.
I'm going to end your life.
No, all right. Seriously, though, here's the thing. She's not actually in tune. Like, if the note is a G... Ginger was singing like a D sharp. She was wildly under pitch, and I get it. She just couldn't quite hit those notes, so she's trying to like sing it. But
all right. Also, look, I don't know that you are remembering this clearly enough, but look, what I'm gonna say is, comparatively speaking, okay, we could nitpick Ginger on her own. I'm sure that would be fine.
Can we?
Compared to Violet, Max. Miss Fame, Pearl, everybody, she was significantly better. I'm sorry, there were so many bad singers.
Definitely agree. And I apologize.
Horrible, unbearable singers in that freaking parody.
I want to apologize that I walked off set. That was very unprofessional. Yes, comparatively, she was a lot better than everyone else. I totally agree.
Oh my gosh, so much better. And then also, you know, I mean, and then, okay, so now let's talk about the Get Ready to Clock parody. That one to me was probably... Yeah. I thought that Violet Max and Jaden's parody was probably the most surprisingly entertaining, is what I'm going to say.
Definitely, definitely.
Because I thought Jaden really killed it, and I thought Violet was actually pretty great, too.
Yeah.
And they just... it's even... The most surprising thing is that Jaden, like, got the look really good and performed really well, and she doesn't look like Bianca at all. But it was
at all. Bianca doesn't look like Bianca. You don't have to look like Bianca to look like Bianca. I mean, that's just true. That's just a paint by numbers situation.
Well, what I saw on Instagram the next day, which was my favorite thing, was Bianca tweeted, "Look, Latrice and I had a love child."
Wait, say again?
Bianca put on Instagram a picture of Jaden and said, "Latrice and I had a love child."
Oh my god. If you could crossbreed any two queens, who would you crossbreed?
Latrice Royale and Bianca Del Rio.
Yeah, that's a pretty great combination.
I mean, those are like two of my most favorite queens. Maybe Alaska and Alaska. That would also be a favorite.
Just to have a little mini Alaska, that would be great.
For me, Alaska and me, that would be my favorite cross.
You met Alaska, right?
I did meet Alaska, yeah, she was a little tipsy.
I remember the first time I met Alaska and Sharon, I was with Bob at the Ritz, and they were both performing. This was before they were on Drag Race. They were just like, oh, these are these queens from Pennsylvania who are kind of a big deal out there. And they were both performing at the Ritz, and I think I was in drag at the moment, and so Bob was like, go up to them and introduce yourself. Like, you're part of their sisterhood, you know? So, like, you have a right to, like, assert yourself and say hi and make yourself known. And they were both awesome. They were so sweet. They were really great to meet. And Alaska was definitely the better performer than Sharon. I'll never forget, I know I've told the story before, but Alaska, for her second number, no padding, she's rake thin. She wore this dress, like, if like the dress came down from like the hips here, and there was like a slit down each leg. So effectively, there was like, this big panel, and she's singing this live song like in this kind of voice, and she sings at one moment like, "Now I'm gonna show you my cock and balls," blah 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 blah, and like. If you didn't want to see it, you had ample time to look away. Like, you were warned. You were then given a certain amount, a grace period with which to avert your eyes. Like, and it happened so slowly that, like, it wasn't defensive because anyone who didn't want to see it did not have to see it. They were thoroughly warned in advance. And then, sure enough, she lifts up that panel, like, oh, there's her cock and balls. Like, thank you. Thank you. Such a lady.
I love Alaska. She cracks me up.
Yeah, she's great. Whatever happened to her? I'm just kidding.
Oh, she's just a huge YouTube sensation, and she's touring with the RuPaul bots right now. I would love to see that show.
So back to the challenges with Sissy That Walk. So Max, how hard is it to make fun of Courtney Act in that particular? I know. Like, I get it. Normally, Courtney, like, there's not a lot to make fun of because I find her just a little subdued.
There is, though. I disagree. There is. What Max was doing wrong was he was, like, trying to, like, mock this, like, full of yourself thing that Courtney is. And the thing is, Courtney has no tongue-in-cheekness about her confidence. It is 100% earnest. And that's the way you would make fun of her, which is, like, super eager and super amped. Not like I'm so
like a Pollyanna, basically.
You would just do her like, I mean, Disney princess on crack in a wig. I mean that.
Sure, but emphasis on the on crack part for the purposes of that video. Because I remember I saw Bianca Del Rio showed that at Industry, showed that video after it came out, and like Courtney looks like she's crazy in there. Like she said, all you have to do is crazy eyes. That's all you have to do.
She does, but also it's like the lyrics that they wrote, that their parody wrote for Courtney was like, I, that was a big thing. And you have to imagine, like, this parody of Courtney saying I would be, like, so excited, so into self.
Laura, the icon. No, she's back. She's back.
It would be like so excited, so into self, like buzzing on how excited she is to be Courtney, and not like this, like, I don't know, she missed the mark, like, completely.
Well, that's what she does. She misses marks.
Well, that's it. What stinks about it is you know, I don't know. Well, you see these things with Max. I feel like Max could get there with the right direction, maybe, but I'm not sure. And then with Jaden, I feel like Jaden is so great, but she has to
keep talking. I have to pee, but I'm gonna turn it up so I can hear you from the potty.
I feel like Jaden is so great, but she has to be pushed. I feel like in every challenge I see that with Jaden, she hits a wall. Then when they push her past it, she does great. So she needs to learn how to start on the other side of the wall. Because it was the same thing with this. She was in the recording studio with Lucian, and she was, like, kind of stinking. And then Lucian, like, gave her, like, a little bit of feedback. And then she, like, broke through and did fantastic. It's like that is her MO over and over again. And I just
want to cool if I'm jumping over the couch. There we go. I'm back. You were saying about Jaden?
Yeah, it was super hip.
I felt, speaking of hip, I feel like I needed a hip replacement while doing that.
Anyway, let's get to the green.
I agree with Jaden. I don't think Jaden's, like, great or anything and not, like, a great comedic person, but something about her energy and her over-the-topness I just find hilarious. Like, she makes me laugh a lot.
I really enjoy Jaden. I'm just saying that I feel like watching her in these challenges frustrates me because I can tell that she's better than where she always starts at. And when she can get past that and she can start at the better place, then she's on for greatness.
Yeah.
So we should talk about Tan with you.
Yeah, I just wanted to get to that. I love the concept. I love the execution. There is a certain energy that was really lacking from it, except from Katya. I'm going to call it at this point. I'm going to call top 3 at this point. I'm going to say Katya. I'm going to say Ginger Minj, and I want to say Trixie Mattel.
This is so ballsy. I cannot make such a prediction at this point. It's too early.
At this point, that's who I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be Ginger Minj, Katya, and Trixie Mattel.
Well,
speaking of Trixie, and it sure is her episode, or at least that's at this point in the running, that's who I want it to be. Trixie, here's the thing.
At this point in the running, now, you know, I have no feelings for Katya, really, at this point in the running.
Full disclosure, we're recording this, and it's been 20 minutes, so I'll wrap up. Full disclosure, we're recording these retroactively, so we're down to what, like six or 7 queens now? No, like 7, something like that. So
we're down to 5 or 6.
Something like that. I think we're down to like 6 or 7 because one
is coming back.
Well, we don't get to that yet, but so Trixie. Here's the thing about Trixie in this number. First off, there was a real energy that was lacking to the whole Tan with you because Pearl and Trixie and Fame were all just a little subdued energetically, whereas Katya is giving a clear concept character.
Yeah, well, that's the thing Katya did. She walked into the recording studio with a character. I don't feel like any of those other girls did that. She was ready. She was like, this is who my tan character is, and this is what I'm doing. And she nailed it. And she was very funny, very funny.
Now, for Trixie, here's the thing. Trixie, I do not buy that she can't sing up the octave. I just think
I agree with you. I was like, bitch, you can sing that?
Anyone can. Here's the thing. I remember when I was 15 years old and I auditioned for the musical Gypsy. Maybe I was 16. I think I was 15 or 16. I auditioned for the musical Gypsy, and I did not get the role of Tulsa not because I couldn't hit the high G and all I need is the girl, but there's this slightly higher part where he sings Paris silk, Harris tweed. There's only one thing I need. And that's the note they wanted to know you could hit for the audition, and everyone got there and sang at the octave down. Granted, I was like in the middle of puberty, so like I didn't have a comfort up there. And granted, Trixie is really young. He's 24. Maybe he doesn't have that sense of his voice yet because, you know, think about it. When you're 24, you've still only been a legal adult for 6 years, and you've only had your new voice for 8 years.
I guess, but
things take a while to shift,
in their 20s is at a high level. I don't know.
You've got to be able to find that space in your voice and, and train that space in your voice. Like, people have a lot more pliability with their voice than they think. I have a generally pretty deep voice, but when I'm in drag, I'm able to put my voice up there. I would love, Trixie, if you're watching this, I would love to work with you on this because I can hear it in your speaking voice. You have it. You just have to trust that it's up there.
You do have it, girl. You could sing that high.
Because it really does take me out of it to hear a drag queen, like, singing down here, unless that's a character choice,
Yeah, we're gonna do it. It was, like, really low, yeah.
Yeah. And it wasn't just low in pitch. It was low energetically.
It was. Well, now this is the thing. So in the Untucked for this episode, and also a little bit in the episode, Fame mentions that Trixie is more animated and in the workroom than she is when it's time to get on stage and drag.
Yeah.
And I have to say that as a viewer, I was also feeling that because it's the interview Trixie and the workroom Trixie that I'm liking. And then when she gets on stage, she is buckling a little bit for me at this point. I'm
seeing that happening to Fame as well. But I think Fame's doing a much better job. Fame, and Trixie has a background as a musical theater performer. Well, I don't know if it's musical theater, but I know, at least from seeing pictures on her Facebook, Brian, it's Trixie out of drag, like, there's pictures of him like in theater production. So I know that he's an actor and has experience as a stage actor. So I don't know why I'm not seeing that so much in the challenges. But,
it's hard. It's a lot of pressure. Anyway, so the Tan with you, obviously Katya was outstanding, and then I thought Miss Fame was pretty great too. She did some really funny stuff.
Yeah.
So let's move on.
Well. So let's move on. How funny. Okay, so when I saw this, I was at Industry, and Jessica Alba was the guest judge for the runway part. And Ms. Cracker, who's hosting at Industry, every single time she talked about Jessica Alba, she called her Ariana Grande.
Stop it.
Every single time. She's like, isn't Ariana Grande doing a great job? Like, oh my God, give it up for Ariana Grande. And I kept being like, no. And like, finally, I'm like flagging Ms. Cracker down. And I made, with the collage app on my phone, I did a side-by-side picture of Jessica Alba and Ariana Grande. And finally, like, I don't like to ever interrupt the queen on stage, but I was like, no. And she's like, what? And she comes over to me on the show. I'm like, that's not Ariana Grande. And she's like, what? Well, who? I'm like, and I showed her the picture side-by-side, and the audience was gagging.
Wait, so she wasn't kidding? She really thought that was Ariana Grande?
She thought that was Ariana Grande.
Kind of offensive to Ariana Grande.
How funny that, like, we're foreshadowing a bit. Fast forward to which episode was it? Was it the very next one? 2 episodes later, Ariana Grande is the guest judge, and Cracker was dying on stage.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, so on this green challenge, I have to say, I missed Santino.
Okay.
Because Santino would have read some of those girls for those stupid looks. Because some of them were stupid.
On the screen challenge, like in the video?
No, the green challenge. The
green challenge. You're right. Challenge. They didn't get nearly as much criticism for that as they should have. I was not impressed.
Absolutely. Mrs. Kasha Davis's outfit was ridiculous and totally
stupid.
Unacceptable.
It was stupid.
And Santino would have read her the riot act for wearing that. And I was like, where is Santino? I need him.
Yeah. Oh, well. Hopefully he's somewhere making more money.
I hope so. He's busy saving the world. Saving the world and getting ready for our wedding day.
I don't think that's going to happen.
We would be an adorable couple. How can you say that?
He's gay, isn't he?
No, Santino totally is into the ladies.
Are you kidding? Santino is a heterosexual man?
Yes.
What? Look, what? What?
Well, I'm sorry you're so surprised. It's one of the reasons I like him so much is because he's not, like, weird and disgustingly masculine.
I'm excited for you guys that you have him on your team. That's awesome.
I know. He and I really would be a great couple. He would love this casserole that I just made.
Really? You should Instagram him a picture of the casserole and say, this is a vegan casserole for my future possible husband.
I'm going to have to get better at raw cooking because Santino likes raw.
Ooh. You sure he's not gay?
Anyway.
Never mind, bad joke.
Anyway, let's move on.
So move on to the inevitable. It comes down to... Do you want to say it or tonight?
Yeah, okay, you can say it.
The lip sync challenge. First off, I don't see any reason why Trixie should have been in the bottom two for this thing.
I completely agree with you. I think it should have been Candy Ho and Mrs. Kasha Davis. And I would take that to my grave.
Exactly.
Candy Ho and Mrs. Kasha Davis. I don't even think Pearl should have been in the bottom.
I don't think Pearl should have been in the bottom two. I don't even know what to say about this. I'm so frustrated that it went down that way. But here's the thing that Bob the Drag Queen said. When someone that you don't like goes home, there's not a big reaction. You know, when you're watching this at a bar or something, there's no big reaction when someone goes home where you're like, yeah, she should have gone home. But when someone like Trixie goes home, you're like, wah! Hashtags are started. Everyone's talking about the show. I think it was strategic. I think that was done just for, like, to keep people talking. I also, so Trixie sashayed away. Even though on a lip sync basis, Trixie really outperformed Pearl on this, clearly.
I'm going to stop you right there.
Yeah?
Because I don't agree.
Really?
Really.
I feel like all Pearl did was try her hardest to keep her eyes open. That's all I saw from her. I saw a lot of intensity facially.
It pains me to say it. It pains me to say it. Because I really love Trixie and I wanted her to stay. But what Pearl did with the song, I felt was more true to the core of what Blondie is. I felt that it was more true to Debbie Harry. I felt that it was a better performance of the song. And I thought what Trixie did was camp it up way too much, which isn't right for that song. Now, granted, I'm a huge Blondie fan and I have a huge attachment to the band, so I'm
You've
coming
never
at it
met Debbie Harry, have you?
I have met Debbie Harry.
Oh, that's right.
But anyway, so for me, I felt that Pearl embodied the essence of the music and expressed it in a way that was much more like, but whatever.
I think it's just hard for me to admit that, but I think you're right.
Trixie wasn't bad. I just don't think that it was totally right for the song. And also, it was a tough call because I felt like they both did well. And I felt they both didn't deserve to be in the bottom. So I
really did not think that either of them was going home. I thought that was going to be like a Sharon Needle, Fifi O'Hara lip sync. Remember when Sharon and Fifi lip synced?
You both stay. Yeah.
And then Willem goes home. That's what I thought was going to happen with that.
Or what was it? That was with
I remember
Roxy and Alyssa. Shantae, you both stay. I mean, did that make me cry. That was amazing. Or
there was that one where they both went home. Wasn't one of them Honey Mahogany and one was the other?
It was San Francisco's own.
Oh my God. When she sent them both home, that was brilliant.
Well,
and then we used that at our at the Vegetarian Food Festival. We did a lip sync for your life to Blow by Kesha. And at the end,
let's be real. Vivian and Honey were bad. They did both deserve to go home. They had no energy, and it was a Britney song. Don't even get me started.
Yeah, it was terrible. So, but I do have to say, also, I hate to say it, but for the green look, I did not love Trixie's look. The kimono thing, I just did not care for it. I liked the headpiece she wore, but like do something else Asian inspired. The big not kimono, whatever that was. I just didn't care for it, and it's always a shame. It's always a shame when a drag queen has to, huh?
The thing is, I wasn't that taken with anything Trixie did in this episode, but she wasn't bottom.
She wasn't bottom. What I was taken with is she did lead well and come up with a good idea for her team that I thought was the most successful execution of it.
She did come up with a good parody idea. I don't think she managed Miss Fame and Pearl fighting as well as she could have.
Is that really her job? Like, is it really America's Next Top Drag Queen's job to manage?
But you can, look, Ben, it's not her job, but you can rest assured that different queens in the same position would handle it.
Yeah,
and I think it needed to be handled. And Katya wasn't handling it, and Trixie didn't handle it, and the energy ruined the whole group.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Because they were fighting like babies. I would have handled it. If I had been in that group, I would have been like, you both need to take 5, take a deep breath, and stop taking everything the other person says personally.
Yeah. I think when they do the reveal of the Season 8 cast, I won't be surprised if I see you on there.
Me?
Yeah.
I wish I could be on it. It would never, I'm not. I need to be a guest judge.
I would love that. That's what we need to get us to the point where we are famous enough that you can be a guest judge.
Or we could do some kind of mini challenge thing. That would also be great.
I think we've sufficiently covered this episode. You want to move on to the next one?
Absolutely.
So, really upset that Trixie went home, but I'm going to call it. And granted, we're recording this afterwards, but even in that moment, as soon as that happened, I tweeted Trixie, or I posted it on her Facebook, and I'm like, no, bullshit. There is no way that you're off the show at this point. They are only voting her off the show because, mark my words, they're bringing her back. So we'll see.
Yeah, everybody was saying it.
Yeah. So that's it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for becoming members. And you can share these online, and make sure that your grandmother sits down and watches this entire episode with you guys.
Absolutely.
I think it's important. I think it's important to hear this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
All right. So bye, you guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Justice for Trixie.